You know, games are such a huge part of my life, and if you're watching this, I bet they're a huge part of yours too. Otherwise, you probably wouldn't be watching a video about video games. Almost every day, I'm happy that I live in a time where we have such an amazing form of entertainment. To me, nothing beats the feeling of picking up one of my favorite games and playing it all over again. There are a ton of games I do this with, but a few of them I love so much that I'm actually thankful that they exist. Maybe playing a game left me with such a huge feeling of satisfaction, maybe the story left a huge impact on me, or maybe it's a game that changed the way I thought about the industry as a whole. I'm not saying all of these games are good, and sometimes I don't even like them. Sometimes you can also be thankful of a game's existence, even if you don't like it or care about it, because it represents a change in the industry, or even a turning point in that particular franchise's overall quality. This list doesn't really have any rules. There will be multiple games from one franchise, and this list isn't really sorted in any particular way. Anyway, without further ado, here's my top 7 games I'm thankful for. This game represents my discovery of the indie scene. If you've seen my top 10 favorite games list, you'd know that at one point this was my favorite game of all time. While that opinion may have changed, I still love this game a ton. I remember seeing it all over the Xbox arcade, ads all over the place for this game called Super Meat Boy. Back then, around late 2010, maybe early 2011, I kept thinking to myself how stupid it sounded and I never really looked into it. It wasn't until about early 2012 where I decided to try out the demo for the game. Because I beat all the games I owned at the time, and I was in desperate need of a new game to play. When I finally tried it, I was stunned, and a little bit angry with myself. Back then I thought it was one of those bargain bin games or something like that. Because it was only $15, how could a game that cheap be this good? But here I was, playing one of the best 2D platformers I ever played, and it was only a demo! I then proceeded to clean the entire house, in hopes I could get some money from my mom, and once I did, I ran to my nearest corner store, picked up a $20 Xbox card, ran back, and bought the game. I also bought some games off of the indie marketplace, but I don't like to talk about that.
No, Luca. No. No. Please, Luca. Stop. No.
Once I got all settled in my chair, I booted up Super Meat Boy and then proceeded to waste about a month mastering the entire game and fully completing it multiple times. Yes, I have fully completed the game multiple times and I don't regret it. This game has opened my eyes and allowed me to see a whole new treasure trove of indie games. I'm talking about the good indie games, the ones that are on the Xbox arcade, not the indie marketplace. I'm talking classics like Dust and Elysian Tale, Bastion, Spelunky, Castle Crashers, and Battle Block Theater. I would have never found out about these games if it wasn't for Super Meat Boy. Hell, a lot of the indie games on PC that I own, I still wouldn't have even known to look for them without playing Super Meat Boy. Sure, a lot of the indie games I play now I find through videos and such, but Super Meat Boy left such a great impression on me for the indie scene, I'm much more open to try out the smaller games now. This game, for me, represents my escape into the video game world. When I first got New Leaf, I was going through some real tough times. I was struggling through some real bad depression, and that ended up leaking into my school life. My grades were slipping, and eventually it got so bad, I ended up dropping out. Needless to say, I felt like I let everybody down, and I felt like a huge failure. But anytime I opened up my 3DS to play some Animal Crossing, I wasn't a loser who dropped out of school. I was the mayor of a small village of animals. I had a secretary named Isabel, close friends like Zell, Olivia, Amelia, Bew, Francine, and Apollo, and I could hang out with them any day I wanted to. I didn't have to worry about the problems I was dealing with in the real world, because I was out fishing, catching bugs, hanging out at Club LOL, helping my friends out with things, funding public works projects, or even decorating my house. Really, all of this doesn't seem like that much, but it was also therapeutic. I was able to feel happy because this game always put me in a good mood. Even when I wasn't doing all that much, it made me feel so happy that I had a world I could escape to, a world where I mattered and I could do anything that I wanted. I don't play it much anymore because I've actually lost my save file multiple times and I just don't want to start over again, but this game helped me through a very tough time and I'll always be thankful for that. This game represents my childhood. Any of you guys out there who know me, you definitely saw this coming, because I'm a huge Sonic fan. And this game left the biggest impact on me, not just of any Sonic game, but any game ever. See, my first Sonic game was Sonic Advance on my first console, the Game Boy Advance. I loved every second of it, and I couldn't stop playing it. But I kept seeing commercials for this game, Sonic Adventure 2 Battle, on TV all the time. I remember going to GameStop a couple times and actually playing a demo for the game. It was so cool! So I immediately asked my mom for a GameCube and Sonic Adventure 2 Battle, but I was told I couldn't have it because we were too poor at the time. But one day, it was a couple days before Christmas, I was looking for my mom. I can't remember the reason why I was looking for her, but nonetheless, I went into her room and saw a plastic bag on the floor. I peeked inside and there it was. The game I've waited for so long. That Christmas, I got the GameCube and Smash Bros. Bundle, an extra controller, a memory card, and Sonic Adventure 2 Battle. Those were some of the best years of my life. Years and years after that, I played Adventure 2. It was one of my favorite games ever. I spent so long trying to 100% the game, but then I found out to complete the game, I also had to raise Chow in the Chow Garden. I went in there a couple of times before, but never had actually spent any time in there, because I didn't really know what to do. But after reading a couple of online guides and giving it a shot, I ended up loving it. And ladies and gentlemen, this is the real reason I love Sonic Adventure 2 so much, and the reason I spent so much time on the game. I raised Chow non-stop. One of my most fond memories I have of it was the first time I raised a Chaos Chow. Have you ever done that before? It's really fucking hard. Now, just to give you a general idea on how much I played the Chow Garden, I had 2 of each type of Chaos Chow. No, I'm not joking. You know how freaking durable the GameCube is? Like, I'm sure most of you think the GameCube is the most durable system ever, right? Nothing could ever break that, right? Wrong. I played Sonic Adventure 2 so much that my GameCube got a red screen every time it booted up, and I could never use it again. So, thank you Sega for giving me the best childhood ever, and for breaking my GameCube. This game sort of represents my love for a change in the industry. Let me explain. While I love Minecraft and I play it every once in a while, my favorite things about Minecraft isn't building whatever I want, exploring the world, fighting monsters, and it isn't mining for material. My favorite thing about Minecraft is what it did to change the industry as a whole. In my eyes, it's changed the industry in 2 ways. 1, this is an indie game, made by a small team, and it sold over 70 million copies. Now that is insane. This is a game that's bigger than most AAA games out there. This is a game that's been released on over 10 different consoles, has its own merchandise line, has its own convention, and has one of the biggest fan bases out there. This game is one of the most well-known games of all time. All of this success for an indie game. Now that just has to give some inspiration to the indie devs out there. This game made it huge. If you try your hardest and make the best game you can, you could have that success too. Get PewDiePie to play your game and bam, instant million copies sold. 2. This game spawned a whole genre of games. While I'm sure this isn't the first game of its kind, it's definitely the first one that got this big. This has spawned a ton of really obvious cash grabs, but that's to be expected. But it also paved the way for other great games to come along. If Minecraft didn't exist, games like Terraria and Starbound wouldn't exist. Both Terraria and Starbound are some of my favorite games of all time, and I certainly play them more than Minecraft. But I'm still eternally grateful for how Minecraft has inspired some of my favorite games. The Super Smash Bros. Series represents my love of multiplayer games and my love for competition. When I play Smash Bros. With my friends, we aren't friends anymore, we're rivals. We're going head to head in a one-on-one deathmatch where only one of us can be the victor. But even when one of us loses that round, we bounce right back up and do it all again. Me and one of my real life friends like to do this a lot. We've been slowly getting better and better because we challenge each other. Me and him are basically the same when it comes to our fighting skills and the way we think. So when we're playing together, it's almost as if we're fighting ourselves. Me and him are gonna keep training, and someday we really want to go to tournaments together, where we can fight against each other or even team up and fight 2v2. But there are some times we need to sit back and realize that in its core, Smash Bros. Is a party game, so every once in a while multiplayer matches with items on can be really chaotic but also very fun. If I was to pick my favorite game in the series, and the one that I'm the most thankful for, would have to be Smash 4. It's honestly one of my favorite games ever right now. I'm at 400 hours on the Wii U version and around 250 hours on the 3DS version. So, in the year this game has been out, I've played this version of Smash more than all of the other games combined. And I'm not slowing down anytime soon. I'm still playing this game just as much as I was when it first came out. As long as my friends continue to play Smash with me, I don't think I'll ever stop playing this game. Let me take you back to around 2008. Remember Flash games? Yeah, those were the coolest things ever. I loved going online to find Flash games I could play. Most of the time, they were pretty bad, but sometimes you'll find one that's just so addicting you never actually stop playing. If you were like me back in 2008, I'm sure a little game known as Super Mario Flash will ring a bell. This game was the shit. I went in the game and I was like, oh cool, a Mario fan game. Well, let's see what this one's about. Level editor. And then I proceeded to never actually play the main game and only make my own levels. Why do I bring up this little classic, you may ask? Well, as a kid, I always wanted level creators to be included in Mario games. It was something I've wanted since I first played Mario World on my Game Boy Advance. But then at E3 2014, something completely amazing was announced. Super Mario Maker. This is the game of my dreams. It's a level creator for Mario, and you can create levels for 4 separate games. Take all of my money. Take all of my money. Take it. You see, my lifelong dream is to create video games, and while I'm nowhere near actually able to make games yet, level creators are my way of creating a game without having to actually do any code. But the thing is, even if you're not coding, you're still learning. You're learning what works and what doesn't work with a 2D Mario game. My favorite genre of games is the platformers, so with Super Mario Maker's help, I'm gonna be much more experienced in level design once I actually make my own platformer. My game probably will be much different than a 2D Mario game, but any experience is good. Thank you, Nintendo, for allowing me to practice and learn things about game creation. This game represents the turning point for a franchise that I love so much. Yes, I am thankful that Sonic 06 exists, because aside from a couple of flukes, Sonic games after this one kept getting better and better. The quality of the games changed forever. While I don't hate this game as much as everyone else does, in fact, I actually like playing Sonic Story a lot and I go back to it frequently, I won't come out and say that this is a good game, because it really isn't. But it's still a game I can appreciate. If it wasn't for Sega hitting rock bottom with Sonic 06, Sega would have never realized something was wrong. We wouldn't have gotten great games like Sonic Unleashed, Sonic Colors, or Sonic Generations. The Sonic games would probably still be on the same level as Sonic Heroes nowadays. Not bad, but nothing fantastic. But Sonic Generations especially is one of the best Sonic games ever. And sure, some of Sonic's latest games haven't been the best, but I still hold hope that Sega will deliver something fantastic for Sonic's 25th next year. So thank you, Sonic 06, for helping the series I love get better and better. And there you have it, my top 7 games that I'm thankful for. But hey, I'm not the only one with stories to share today. I brought along another YouTuber, BigWill, to share with us some games that he's thankful for. Take it away, Will.
So even though we don't celebrate Thanksgiving over here in the UK, I still thought it would be fun to contribute towards this video. So I'll be showing you guys a handful of games that I'm really thankful that I ever got to play. So I'm a huge fan of fantasy games. I love swords, magic, bows and arrows, goblins, and all that fun stuff. And funnily enough, when I was really younger, I really didn't play any games that had this sort of stuff. But it wasn't until the Xbox 360 came out that I discovered The Elder Scrolls 4 Oblivion. It just seemed like this was my perfect game. I would fantasize about playing a game like this, where you could explore a vast open world and fight mystical creatures. And to my little young self, this game was absolutely mind-blowing. If it wasn't for this game, I would have never went back and had the pleasure to play Morrowind, and perhaps I wouldn't have the love I do now for RPGs. Crash Bash. Okay, so there is no doubt that this is definitely the weakest Crash game on the PS1. I'm really not gonna argue with you on that point, but this was the very first Crash Bandicoot game I remember playing. This game is nothing like any of the other Crash Bandicoot games. It's more of a co-op party game, but for some reason I really liked this game. And I ended up asking for some more Crash Bandicoot games once I got burnt out on this game, and that's how I ended up playing the original Crash. So if it wasn't for Crash Bash, I would have never been exposed to the rest of the series, and I probably wouldn't have the love that I do for the originals. Unreal Tournament. Now this is the game that got me into FPS games. Nowadays, the genre is pretty polluted with the same rehashed crap. But when I played this, I hadn't played that many other FPS games, and definitely no other multiplayer FPS games. For me, this series was just love at first sight, and I played every single UT game in the series. And I personally enjoy them all, even the ones on the original Xbox. Because of my love for this game, I started to notice other great first-person shooter games like Halo, and well, the rest is just history.
So what are some games you're thankful for? Share some stories of yours in the comments section below. And if you liked the video, be sure to click that like button and subscribe if you haven't already. And please, click right here to go to Will's channel, and go watch some of his stuff. He makes some great reviews and top 10s, so if you like my stuff, you're gonna love his videos too. His videos really don't get enough love, so please go check him out and subscribe. Anyway guys, you all have a fantastic Thanksgiving, and I'll see you next time. Bye!